Today I'm going to be sharing my 2025 declutter goals. Now this may sound sad, I guess, to make declutter goals, but I feel like I'm on quite a nice little journey, I guess is the word, with my decluttering, organising at the minute in the house, because I find that life is just so busy now, especially now I'm back at work and we've got 2 young children. Everywhere's always a mess, and I just think a lot of that comes down to how much stuff we have. So over the past few months I've really been trying to declutter things that we don't need and really take a look at how much stuff we've got in the house, which blows my mind quite often. So I sat down the other night and the first thing I did was made a little list of different areas that I wanted to focus on in the house. So the first one was toys, because like I say, we have 2 young children and it actually blows my mind how quickly you go from having sort of no toys when they're babies to a house full of toys, especially now there's 2, because obviously you get a lot on their birthdays and then Christmas, and before you know it your house is flooded with toys. So my son has not long turned 1 as well, so there's obviously still a lot of baby toys that we have. I'm just about getting to the stage where the really baby toys can probably be sold or donated, so that's nice. That's one of the things I really want to keep on top of as he gets older, really making sure that we do depart with the things that we don't need anymore as soon as we can, because I feel like it's very easy to just shove things in a box or they just get missed. So I've started a little box of the toys that we don't need anymore, and then when there's a few I might just sell it as a bundle, or if there's no interest I'll just give it to a charity shop. But one of the main things that stresses me out is the toys we have that don't really have a purpose. So things that have just like accumulated from random places, you know, like Kinder toys and things like that. And I've got a box here and it's full of those sort of toys basically, and I'd say they get looked at a tiny bit but not really, and there's not really an awful lot you can do with them. Some of them are broken and they just get shoved in this box and forgotten about. So that's an area I want to work on, because actually this box would be good to keep some toys in for Emmy, because a lot of the toys we have out in the lounge, which is our like main living area with the kids, are Alfie's bigger toys, and I think because he's so young at the minute and he does put a lot of things in his mouth, Emmy's toys have mostly had to be put away, and then I feel bad because she hasn't really got an awful lot of like toys that are appropriate for her age for her to play with. So this box would actually be quite nice to keep things in like that, and then she can get them out when he's asleep or whatever. So if I can clear this box, it'll be a nice little storage space for those. And there is also the ball pit upstairs that is full of similar toys that are just tiny and pointless. So I don't think Emmy would be that bothered if we got rid of a lot of those, to be honest. And another one on toys is getting rid of multiples. So we do have certain toys that we have more than one of. Not necessarily the exact same, but for example, pull along toys, which to be honest don't really get played with. We have a few books that are exactly the same, which for some reason we have kept. We don't need them, so that is a nice thing that I can get rid of, especially now because actually we do read books a lot and I like to buy them books, so it's actually just taking up space having the exact same book. Don't ask me why we've got more than one, I do not know. I think that's an area that, it's not a big part, but it adds to the toy pile, so that's another one on my list. The next item on my list is letters and documents. I have a lot of letters that need to be shredded and I haven't got a shredder, so they just end up in a pile and it's getting out of control now. I know we don't need them, and because I've had them that long, a lot of them are sort of from a couple of years ago, so since then we've had a lot more from the same people, so we don't need them anymore. But I have now discovered a shredder at work and I've been taking a few there, so I'm going to start a pile of all the things I need to take and shred and get that done as soon as I can, because although that might not seem like it takes up a lot of space, they just end up in like piles all over the place and it just looks messy and it's just not needed. So I've picked out ones that we do need to keep obviously, but a lot of them just we don't need, and I have made sure for the ones that I just think, why have I even got this, I've gone on the apps, so like water bills and energy bills, I've just gone on the app and gone paperless because we don't need them to be posted to the house. And I think sometimes they automatically default it to be in letter format, which I think most people probably don't want, but I guess they maybe have to. So I've gone paperless on as many apps as I can just to stop them coming in the house in the first place. So I guess they just get emailed to you. Another one is beauty / makeup bits that I don't need anymore, or are nearly empty or out of date. Because again, I feel like that's another area where you end up having so much of it without realising, and it's just shoved in various drawers or baskets or makeup bags. I did go through a couple recently and get rid of a few bits. We have a recycling box at Tesco near me, so it's nice just to be able to take things there and know they're going to get recycled. I know they have certain rules on what they do and don't take at the recycling box, but I think most makeup stuff can go in there. So I bought myself a new makeup bag not long ago, and I only put things in there that I do actually know that I use, and I had quite a lot of stuff that I definitely don't use anymore or is extremely out of date that I got rid of. But I'm going to keep on top of that because I think as I'm getting older, my skin, in particular my eyes, are getting way more sensitive to things, especially if they're older. So if I've been using mascara that's probably gone a bit old, not even that old, more like, 6 months or whatever, which people might get rid of their makeup that often, but I don't because I don't wear it that often. But my eyes are starting to get really bad as I get older, so I think I'm going to have to keep on top of that a bit more. So I'm just going to make sure that I check it regularly to make sure there isn't anything I can get rid of. The last one on my list is clothes. So my clothes, first of all, because I find I very quickly get bored of things and don't want to wear them anymore, and I'll normally just let them sit there, but I did a wardrobe declutter not long ago and got rid of loads of clothes. So I'm going to try and do that every 6 months, even if I don't end up getting rid of a lot, because the last time I did it I don't think I'd done it for about 3 years. So if I do it every 6 months, it's obviously not going to be the same amount each time, but even if it's just a couple of things, that's fine with me. And also the kids' clothes, because obviously they're growing, so they grow out of their clothes, and unless I really stay on top of it, things just end up staying in the wardrobe that either they don't wear or is obviously too small for them. I found something in Alfie's wardrobe the other day that was 3 to 6 months, and he's now 13 months, so obviously that does not fit him anymore. But because I hadn't gone through the wardrobe properly for a while, that obviously got missed. But that is another job that is actually a big job, because then it means sorting out whether it needs to be sold or donated to charity, and I've got a lot of clothes waiting to be sold or put on Vinted. So it is actually quite a big job to do that, and if I don't do it, there just ends up being piles of clothes everywhere. So that is on the list so that I keep on top of it. And then the last bit I wrote down was more sort of like rules that I want to stick to. So the first one is give things a home, and if they don't have a home, do I need them? Because there seems to be a lot of things, in particular in the kitchen, that just get dumped and they don't actually have anywhere to go. So, there's no specific place for them in the house, and then it just ends up staying there for such a long time, and it makes the house look so messy, and it's annoying me now. So I'm going to get a box, put everything in it that doesn't have a home, and if I can't find somewhere for it to go, I'm just going to get rid of it if I don't need it, because it should have a home. Our kitchen is really small, and I think it makes it look worse because of all the stuff that's everywhere in there. It just seems to be the dumping ground for stuff, and that's one of the main things I want to stop from happening this year, just the stuff everywhere that is not necessary. So I might do a video on that sort of thing when I come to do it. I think I'm going to have to try and set some time aside to actually do that, because it might take me a while. But that is definitely something I want to tackle this year. And the second rule, I've only got 2. This is just the 2 things I want to stick to this year, is decluttering little and often. So the last video I uploaded was a small declutter of 2 of the drawers in my bedroom, which only took me half an hour, but I ended up getting rid of 35 things. So if you want to watch that video, I will link it below. But that's a lot in half an hour, and before that I'd been doing sort of bigger areas like the storage cupboards in our house, and it took sort of more like 3-4 hours to do, which I don't have the time to do that now. If you're not familiar with my channel, I was on maternity leave and now I'm back at work, so time is out the window. But half an hour I can do, so I'm going to just try and squeeze in, even if it's just half an hour a week, or even if I just pick a few bits from around the house each week that we don't need, then I'm happy with that, because it's surprising how much it affects you having that much stuff everywhere, and when it's gone you feel such a sense of relief, and well, I do anyway. It makes me feel really good to know that I don't have just things that I don't need in the house anymore, because I don't think we need all that stuff. So little and often, and I will record bits and bobs here and there if it's interesting, so stay tuned for that if you're interested in decluttering. And yeah, that's it really. That's all my goals slash rules that I wrote down. I do think the main one I want to tackle is toys, because that seems to be where a lot of the chaos comes from. Obviously I don't want to leave the children with no toys, because they do play, but actually I did read the more toys they have, the less they actually do play, because there's too much choice, and I can probably relate to that, because if there's too much choice for me I cannot decide. So actually I think having less for them is probably the way to go. Certainly, you know, we seem to be at the age with Alfie where all of his toys have little bits, and it just ends up being such a mess. So I don't know if I just need to put things away and then get them out, like get certain bits out for him to play for, so it doesn't just end up so chaotic. But yes, anyway, rambled enough now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.